FTR family is on vacation this weekend, but I still brought my cameras along because I knew that I was going somewhere that I wanted to show you guys. That's what we're talking about today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. We're in an area called Khybers Flat, and it gets its name from this huge flat area out here that basically acts as a sink in the springtime. When all the snow is melting off of these mountains, all that water has to go somewhere, and this is one of the places that it'll collect. And while the topography of this area is very unique and interesting in itself, what really piques my interest is the history out here. Let's jump in the truck and I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. First stop is here at Moore Station. Now, if you were to travel through here back in the 1850s, things would look a lot different than what they look like right now. The California Gold Rush attracted thousands of men out west to find their fortune. And as they made their trip out to the mining camps, little way stations like this popped up everywhere along the route to give the miners a place to eat and a place to sleep on their way. After the Transcontinental Railroad was completed in 1869, little way stations like this became a thing of the past. As we walk along the pathway that they've provided for us, you can actually still see some remnants of what used to be here. So let's go check it out. A lot of the things at this old way station are really hard or almost impossible to see anymore, but one thing that is actually really easy to make out is the old well where the guys used to get their water. Now, according to this sign, the well was only 40 feet deep, and they were able to hand pump enough water to service the little town that they had here. Apparently there used to be a barn here, but man, I have stared and stared at this ground and I just can't see any remains of it. Right behind me is where they used to have a corral. Now, I don't know if it was because the ground is too rocky or what, but what they ended up doing back in those days was make these little short rock walls, and then they would use that to secure the posts for the fence. Now, I'm kind of disappointed because the last time I was out here, you could still see some of the posts standing up in the rocks there. I don't see any standing now, but we'll take a walk out there and get a little bit of a closer look and see if maybe we can see the remains of one. So maybe right there. I bet that used to be a post. It is really fascinating to me that we can still actually see some of the wooden posts laying in the rocks there. And I've been trying to find the other side of the corral because the rocks just sort of abruptly end by that pine tree over there. And I really can't figure out what was going on. The only thing or clue that I can sort of still see is that there is a break in the sagebrush right here that's in a pretty straight line that comes right to the end of the rock fence here. So I wonder if this corral wasn't sort of a triangle shape, and maybe the rocks got moved for one reason or another over the last 70 years. But yeah, that's crazy to think that long ago, if we were standing out here, there'd be a corral full of horses right behind me. This was the town's root cellar. Now, the way this was built is it had very thick stone walls that they probably used mud or something to fill in the crevices, and then they put logs with mud on top of it to keep things inside cool. So this was basically their method of refrigeration back then. As we look at it now, you can see where the stone walls have crumbled and fell quite a bit, but you can definitely tell where they were. That's about all there is left standing, if you can even call it that, of Moore Station. Right over the hill, though, is another really cool point of interest that I want to show you guys. So let's jump in the truck. Might even have to put her in four-wheel drive and go over there and take a look. years after more stations shut down, just a little ways over the hill popped up Wheeler Sheep Camp in 1920. Sadly, not too much remains here at the Wheeler Sheep Camp, but there are still a few clues that'll let you know people were here. The fact that the camp is located where it is actually no coincidence. We're at the very north end of this meadow, but the reason that I think they put the camp here is because there is an open spring of water right next to me. Something about this old sheep camp that I really find cool is actually the reason why I need to keep a close eye on Sadie while we're out here. They actually still run sheep out here. Now, I don't know if it's the same company that's doing it or really who the sheep belong to, but to me that's very cool that all these years later, this land is still being utilized the same way that it's always been. I'm gonna try to get over here and show you guys the sheep, but I'm also a little leery because I'm pretty sure I saw a Great Pyrenees out here with them too. And I don't want him to do basically what his job is to do, and that's protect these sheep. If he views me as a threat, I might be in trouble. But yeah, GoPro looks terrible at distance. I think you guys should be able to see him by now. Probably the crown jewel of this place is this old brick bread oven. Now, sadly, this is not the original oven. The original one fell down sometime in the 80s, and I believe this one was constructed in its place in the mid-90s. But I have to kind of think that these rocks down here on the bottom might be from the original oven. Probably not the bricks, though. This is where the Basque sheep herders would make their bread and stew and anything else they wanted to eat, I guess. Years ago, there used to be a horse barn right about where I'm standing, and there's really no remnants of it left. But what you can still see is what they probably were using as a corral. Now, at first, I thought that this might be a little bit more current, the cables on the trees like they are. But then when I looked at them a little closer and noticed how much the trees have grown around the cables, that's a pretty good indicator that they've been there for a while. Not to mention the old bathtub sitting in there that I am assuming was used to water stock. It's a dead giveaway of how people used to water their animals back in the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this walk back through history with me, and if you did, please let me know in the comments and we can do more videos like this in the future. By the same token, if you didn't like this video, let me know and we'll never have to do this again. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.